Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Big Four podcast. My name is Luke Spring, and I am with your usual Brian, Nick, and Andrew. And as always, we are your number two source for all things sports. If you know, you know. Today, we are also joined by co-host of Barstool Sports Section 10 podcast, which gives you the best information on the greatest baseball franchise of all time, the Boston Red Sox. He is indeed in the building. Steve, how you doing? And thanks for joining us.
That was a phenomenal intro. I could not ask for a better intro right there. And I'm really just curious why you're the number two source, because I don't know. If you know, you know. So I don't know.
It's a long story. My friend who lives in Attleboro, he started his own podcast, and they claim they're the number one source for all things sports. So I don't want to step on any toes there. So we'll take number two.
I totally respect the honesty. You're like, you know what? Damn it, they wrapped up number one. We are going to be number two for your sports news.
Yes. Yep. That's us.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we have some questions to ask you about, your podcast and how it's going. Then we'll get into some Red Sox, and then if time is good to us, we'll get to some Patriots. So basically the first one, you have the Section 10 that you co-host with Jared Carabas and Coley Mick. So basically just, can you tell us how you guys met and how you decided to start this podcast?
Yeah, so this all started back in 2015. Pete Blackburn and Jared Carabas started it off. They were the ones that birthed the show, and I was working at Nesson at the time. I knew that my time was coming up there, which means, so we mutually parted ways. That means they weren't renewing my contract. That's what that means. That's that's code for that. But I knew I needed the next step. I didn't know what it was going to be. I knew I wanted to get more, behind the mic, more behind, I wanted to get, I was doing editing for Ness, and I wanted to get more in front of the camera, more exposure. And I reached out to Jared. I didn't even know who Jared was at the time. And I was like, oh, he's got a following. He must go Red Sox. He must be into the team. And I saw that they had started a show because of Gary Streisky. He was the first guest on episode 10. And I love Streisky. And he was one of my favorite coworkers at Nesson. And Streisky retweeted the show. I listened. I was like, oh, damn. They got the PA guy to open the show. They got the Fenway PA guy. This is the coolest thing of all time. So I was like, I need to be a part of this. I don't know how. I'll just say I'm going to be a producer, whatever. So I reached out to Jared. We all went to Endicott, me, Pete, and Jared. Go Gulls. And so I reached out to him, and I was just like, I did some cheesy, like from one goal to another. I'd really love to be a part of your program. Just some BS like that. And he was like, oh, this is actually great. We're looking for a producer. This works out really well. And so yeah, one thing led to another, and we started doing the show with me, Pete, and Jared on episode 11. And then a couple years went by. We got picked up by Barstool, and early 2017. By the end of 2017, the season, the Red Sox win the AL East. We started seeing Section 10 shirts at Fenway. I was like, oh, damn. Like, that's when I kind of knew that we had made a dent. And once we moved to New York City, I moved there before Jared because I'm working at Bleacher Report, still am. And Barstool moved to New York City. We start recording in the office. Coley joins the show. First off, Feidelberg joined the show. And that didn't really work out. And then Coley joined the show. And Coley was the perfect fit. Coley's hilarious. He knows that Jared and I are going to kind of do our thing, and then he's going to hop. I think the dynamic works out really well. Yeah. And yeah, it's been that way for the last couple of years. So that's kind of the quick story of Section 10.
Yeah. And the title, that's your, if I'm not mistaken, the season tickets you guys have.
Jared's season tickets. So his family. Yeah. So I don't know if the name might've been different if I was involved in the name. Because, I joined episode 11, so I had no, say in the name. But yeah, I don't know if I would have been big time down for Jared's family's season ticket section to be the name of the show. But it works. It's just Section 10. Boom. It just, I don't know. It's always.
At this point, it's perfect.
Yeah, I don't really think twice about it. I'm just like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's our show. But, yeah, it's kind of stuck ever since. We haven't had to change the name, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys are on upwards of, I think, 300 episodes at this point.
350 now, something like that.
Yeah, we got Martin Perez this week. It's going to be episode 355.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perez Day.
Wow.
Oh, dude, he was awesome too. This is one of the best episodes.
It's like the first press he got ever.
I know. It was funny because the first tweet I sent out about Martin Perez, it was like the first inning of his first start. I'm like, Martin Perez sucks.
He gave up 3 runs.
Well, I was like, Martin Perez sucks, but we all knew that. And then I noticed I I think he like DM'd me, or I forget how it went down. He was just like, "Hey man, try my best out there, do my best." And I'm like, "Oh damn!" Like, I didn't expect that. But then since then, we've just kind of like had his back, and he was actually good. You take like 2 starts out.
Take away the Orioles starts. All the Orioles starts, he was terrible. Every other
Yeah.
start, he'd probably have like a 2.8 ERA.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wasn't that
I mean,
bad.
as is, he had one of the better ERAs, in the American League, and so
Crazy.
that it was tough. He ended on the start he did though, because he was at like 3.8, and that got him to 4.5. I'm like 3.8's a lot better than 4.5, but yeah, Perez is the best. I don't even know how we got off on Perez. 354 is the episode we're on.
Yeah. But on the same line is that you've had a bunch of guests. You've had Brock Holt, I think now 3 times, and who else? You just had Bobby Dahl back for the 2nd time. So overall, how is your relationship with players? And if you could tell us your favorite guest you've had, that would be cool too.
Yeah, my relationship is solid. I think I'm probably closest with Brock Holt and Bobby. Bobby's a cool dude. I mean, he's like any of us in here. He's a chill cat. Like he happens to be really good at baseball, but I think he'd be really good at a lot of things. Like, cause he's a very relatable guy, very down to earth. And so I think Bobby could do a lot of things, but yeah, I'm close with Bobby. Brock is Brock is hilarious. I love Brock Holt. Like my dad's the best, but I wish Brock Holt was also my dad. That would be great if I just had like the 2 dad option. But yeah, he's meant so much to the show. I mean, he's the intro of the show now. So he's been huge for us. And yeah, I would say it's those 2 guys. My favorite episode had to be JD Martinez though. Because we had him in the dugout before Game 1 of the ALDS against the Yankees.
Pretty cool, yeah.
That might even be my favorite listen.
Oh, he was so good. He gave us
like,
and he
the
was
details was insane.
It's nuts. His brain works differently when it comes to hitting. He was breaking stuff down where I'm like, damn, I've been doing baseball my whole life. I wouldn't even thought of that. But yeah, that was probably my favorite just because of what it meant. It was the start of the playoff run in 2018, and it was kind of all the way to the World Series title from there.
Yeah, that's cool. So getting that out of the way, we know a lot more about you, about the podcast. Now we want to, get into the meat of this interview and ask you, how the Red Sox are looking. We all know the Trevor Bauer tweet, so that's promising. They're going to get Sale off of the, I don't want to call it the injured reserve or injured list, but he had Tommy John. Hopefully Erod comes back. So we got a lot of good people coming back. So what are your thoughts on the team next year? How you think they'll fare in 2021?
They can't be worse. They can't be worse in 2020.
Sure.
So we have that going for us, which is sick. But no, all things considered, I just hope for 2 things. I just want a team that can compete. Just give me a team that can actually compete. If you add some pitching,
we're so used to winning.
Exactly. It's like if you add some pitching, then it'll actually, be somewhat entertaining. Like every night it's like, who are these guys? I had literally might kick them. Like what? These names
some
are
of the
just
guys. Christian Arroyo like showing up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Yara Munoz like going like 9 for 10. Like where are these guys showing up from?
Josh Ostrich. Like I don't know who
Hall
these
Pass.
guys are. We had Hall Pass. It's like it was ridiculous every night. And people thought I was like BSing a week ago. I was like, the Red Sox, I don't know if we know this here. They led, I think it was at least the American League in hits. They had the most hits in the American League.
Their offense is nuts.
Well,
Their
their
offense is
they all hit,
even
they're all
bets,
average hitters. That's why they're all hitters who hit for average and don't hit home runs. So,
but even when they hit, like JD had an awful year. A lot of these guys had
Benny
down
sucked.
Years. Benny didn't even exist.
Don't even get me started with Benny.
He didn't exist.
Yeah, Benny didn't. He
Give
took
me
the
a
year
break.
off. Benny took the year off. He did not play this year.
No.
He was just chilling after breaking up with the girlfriend. But yeah, I just think that if you can have a team that has a legitimate rotation, which is asking a lot really, because it's like Erod is just walking now. Like what? So
Like,
you have that.
crazy.
Chris Sale is, love
At
the
least
guy,
June, but
it's
he'll be
like
out
who know and
for a
who even
while.
knows what he's going to look like at that point.
Exactly.
Um,
Tanner Houck.
I think all things considered, yeah, Tanner Houck, Tanner Houck is legit, And he has the kind of stuff that will translate. That's not going to be like just because he's new to the league and they haven't figured him out. Like, he's an absolute beast on the mound. He hides the ball well. He has crazy movement. He's got zip on the fastball. Like, he checks the boxes for a guy that will continuously be good. But yeah, I just want a team that can compete. Well, I think they will compete. I don't know. But ideally, I just want a rotation that we can watch and not like hate ourselves for watching.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, earlier this year, you were saying, well, guess who's pitching tonight? TBD. Like, that happens so often
We went into
this
a
year.
series where the only guy we knew who was pitching was Perez. Every other, I think it was the 4-game Yankee series.
TBD's got some good movement on the fastball.
He does. TBD back at it again. Stinking Renicky was lacking the announcements. He said, we got to keep it secret so the other team can't know what's happening.
Like,
it doesn't matter.
By the way, any opposing team going to Fenway this year is like, let's go. It matters who they're throwing out there. Come on.
Oh my God, it was awful. Like, Ryan Weber throws as hard as Nick. Like,
seriously,
maybe less.
There's a major heat on the fastball, 85 miles an hour. Oh, Lord.
Absolute joke.
I know 12-year-olds that throw harder than that.
Same.
And then the one thing that we were frustrated with was our whole thing this year was tank for Kuma, but then they go on like they win like 7 of their last 10, so then they have no shot at getting the first pick.
That was times to be good. Why now? Why now?
That was so painful.
It's because
they blew
all
out
the guys
Braves.
They called up were proving a point. We weren't trying to prove a point.
Also, the fight. So because we talked to Dahlbeck about that, and he's like, I saw all of that. And honestly, he would say when he hits a home run, he'd be around the bases being like, they're going to be upset. They are not going to be happy that it's like a go-ahead home run. And I totally get it, because how weird is that, right? Like, if you're in Dahlbeck's position, you're just trying to stay in the bigs. He's
exactly.
young, but he's not like young. He's 26.
Yeah.
So this is kind of his chance to be a big leaguer. Like, this is his actual chance. So he's not going to tank for Kumar. Like he's going to tank for some pitcher in Vanderbilt. Like, come on, that's not happening. So also the Pirates were just too bad. They were consistently.
It was impossible to compete with them.
Yeah, the second we were doing the tank thing, I was like, look at the Pirates, dude. The Pirates are way too bad to catch.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then the Rangers were screwed ever since, Tatis hit a grand slam off of them. They won 5 combined games after that.
Yeah, because God forbid, you swing at a 3-0 pitch. But I mean, yikes. That was. I got to grab my charger real quick, but keep it rolling.
All right. So on that note, you guys also talked about, I think it was the Bobby Dahlbeck video or podcast. Before it was the actual interview, you guys talked about Renicky getting fired. So, who do you think is?
Lord.
I mean, you guys talked about it, and you gave actually me a different perspective. You kind of said he kind of went in there, bit the bullet for them. He was supposed to retire anyways. So, outside it looks bad because they were terrible, but in reality, that's all they really wanted him to do because they knew they were going to be bad.
Yeah, it was a perfect scenario for the Red Sox, honestly. Like Renicky had to die for the 2021 Red Sox to live.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but I think everyone deep down knew what was going on. I mean, it's like they had to fire Cora because of what happened in Houston. Also, you're not going to keep him on. Like they couldn't have. He was going to be suspended anyway. That goes through the postseason. So they had to do what they did there. Renicky made the most sense. He's been around this team. He was the bench coach. Like there is knowledge from him with the players. Like it made sense. It made perfect sense. He's old, so he wasn't going to want to stick around that long anyway. In theory, and everyone was like, "Oh, but he was saying at the end of the year he wants to come." What do you think he's going to say? He doesn't want to come back. Like, come on. Like he's not going to be like, "This team sucks," like they do. But it's not like he's going to say that in the interview. And then the last thing that kind of killed me was the reaction everyone had. Like, "Oh my, I can't believe they let him go before the last game." Who cares? It was, you were either going to let him go during the game or before the game. If you're the Red Sox and you're letting Renicky go, you're not going to wait until after the game because he's answering questions about if he's being let go or like that's.
Yeah.
You need to let him know that that he's going to get to say goodbye to his players because half of them were leaving from Atlanta. They weren't going back to Boston. And B, you have to prepare him for what the media is going to ask him after the game. And that's, are you going to come back next year? And it's like, very clearly no, because I was, what was the wording? I don't even know what the wording was.
They parted ways.
Parted ways is the best. I parted ways with Nesson. It's like, no, you got fired.
Yeah.
is what happened. But no, I mean, Renicky deserves a lot of credit. He really does. I know we did that whole Renicky or Malarkey thing, but like,
yes, that was
really,
I love that one.
that was just because, like, I mean, some of those quotes were just,
Awesome.
a couple
It's
bounces
too
here
good.
and there. We'd only be like 20 games under 500 instead of 19. But yeah, I think he deserves a ton of credit for what he did. Because you're not going to have a new manager that's like up and coming or that's like a real candidate step in for that year and then can him. That's a crappy look because it's like you're trying to do the luxury tax thing. So that doesn't make any sense either. So yeah, Renicky deserves credit, and I think he gets it. The players respect him. Any player we've talked to about him is like, oh, Renicky's he is an all-timer. He is a lifetime baseball guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has the players' backs, always did. So they respect him. You're not going to hear them say anything negative about Ron Renicky.
Mm-hmm. And do you think Cora's next, or do they go outside?
Cora's the favorite for Detroit.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't think Cora's going to be back. I want him to be back, but my gut keeps telling me that Chaim is not going to do it for multiple reasons. Because you already let him go, and because of the PR look. What baseball team cares more about the PR look than the Boston Red Sox?
Nobody.
None.
What professional sports franchise? Literally,
everything is
Lakers.
about how Henry's just sitting there like, I wonder how this will be perceived. So I don't think they're gonna. I really hope they do. It'd be great for the show. He's a friend of the program, but like I don't think they're gonna do it. I really hope he does, but they'll probably go with somebody like Sam Fold or whatever the other options are out there, which aren't great, by the way. When you're trying to hear what the options are, they don't sound great.
It's all Bloom's like analytical friends back in like Tampa who are like moving around the league now, that are all like 32 and a lot of brains on them.
Yeah,
basically. Sam Fold playing the bigs?
Yeah, he was on the Rays. Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize that name.
Or Veritek, still a chance for that.
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say,
dude, I think that's like the meet in the middle is Veritek for like the fan team. I feel like you're not going to get a lot of people like, why the hell did we hire Veritek like that? Yeah. I would actually love the move. I know the second I posted on our Instagram, Cora 2021, like it was Catherine Veritek immediately replied like as just be like, I think it's going to be my husband. So hopefully it's one of those two. Hopefully it's Veritek or Cora.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Cora maybe not, but Veritek would be a good meet in the middle. So yeah, we're good with the Red Sox. And
hold on. I just have a really quick Red Sox
Nick.
question. It'll take 2 seconds. Game 1 of the year. I don't know if you can go back, recall your reactions from way back in early in the year, but they blow out the Orioles 13-2.
Best game ever.
What are you thinking, right? What are you thinking there? This is supposed to be tank season. They blow out the first team they play. What are you thinking?
Dude, I had said, had my buddy make a quote card a week prior being like, I had basically said, if this team scores 10-plus runs every night, who's stopping us? And then they scored 10-plus runs. Orioles weren't stopping them. And then the Red Sox scored 10-plus runs and one other game the rest of the year. They were in double digits one more time in 60 games.
So bad.
So that first night was awesome, though. I was there. I was in the Fenway area because I couldn't not be. Like, I can't be away from Fenway. That's just part of my DNA. And people were vibing. Everyone was like, oh, dude, I mean, is this going to be like a surprise team or something? No, it's not. We found out very quickly it was not.
Yep.
2 games later.
Didn't take that long. It was seriously, like by a week from that day, I think they were whatever it was.
It was the Mets series, and then they went to
they had
they went to New York already. They went to the Yankees, yeah. So they went
and then
Orioles, Mets,
like,
Yankees, and then it was like already
sick.
over.
Yeah.
Everyone was rooting for the Red Sox to lose against the Yankees at the end of the year. So I'm at Penn State right now, and there's a lot of New Yorkers. There's a lot of Yankee fans. All I'm hearing, they're chewing my ear off about 11 straight wins against the Red Sox. So I'm like, you know what? I know we're trying to tank. We got to get one. And they finally got the last game. The Yankees like, yes.
That was you needed it for multiple reasons to end that useless streak that means nothing, and then you don't want a fully defeated season against the Yankees. Like if you go whatever it would have been, I think 0-10 against the Yankees all year, you don't want that. So and Houck was filthy. So that was one where we were doing the whole tank thing, but I was like, no, let's get one win against the Yankees. Like I can't have a fully defeated season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So yeah, we all know you're a Red Sox guy, Red Sox podcast, but your Twitter was full of Patriots from last night. Frustrating game between the refs, Hoyer, Mahomes' flop on the sideline.
Oh
We
my
were all
God.
texting the entire game. No expectations going in, but when you see 6-3 at halftime and into the third quarter, you're like, they actually have a chance here. And with Hoyer stupid getting sacked right at the end of the half, that I don't know how that happened. You rarely see a Bill Belichick Patriots team make that kind of mistakes. And
Never.
then, yeah,
Never,
it was just
never.
a bad game overall. The defense played well, though. I thought the defense
Amazing.
stepped up.
They learned how to
Defense
catch
was
an
great.
interception and win the game.
Oh, yeah. A
Yeah,
lot of missed
the-
interceptions.
The big thing for me is that Brian Hoyer, 34 years old, he's been in the NFL since the early 1900s, and he doesn't know that they have no timeouts left.
Yeah, I
How,
know.
like
So
how
bad.
that my dad, by the way, I watch a lot of games with my dad. I'm home now. I moved out of New York City because who knows? There's a pandemic. I don't know if you guys know, but it's huge, and so we're trying to figure out what the next move is. The great part is I've been able to watch a lot more games with my dad. And I've never seen him that upset about a Boston sports thing in my life. He was like, "What the f? What the?" And it's like,
I was in the
you
same boat
got
as your
it.
dad.
You
I was the same
have to
way.
know. You have to know.
He's so bad. And before
Um,
that, he stinking checked out of a pass play and did a little dive up the middle. Like they were running the ball after killing their timeouts. Like, what are you doing?
I'm a Class A Boston sports screamer when it comes to Patriot games. Class A.
Ugh.
And
It's-
it
I'm
was
right
up
there with
until
you.
last year when it was for some reason at Baltimore last year. I set the record for the longest time I lost my voice. I screamed more last night than I ever had at a Patriot for a Patriots. Like yesterday, top Baltimore. I didn't think anything could top Baltimore. I had my voice lost till that Tuesday.
But how crazy is that?
And
though?
last
'Cause
night
it's a
I
game-
lost it.
It's a game we had no
Nobody.
intentions.
No.
We had no hope. It's like,
That's
they're gonna
the
lose by
crazy thing.
30. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
team had no purpose in even being close in that game. Yet it was.
That's the frustrating thing. That's why, like, I was so prepared going to the game. I'm like, yeah, we'll lose like 38 to
I had a
17
weird
at
feeling. He
best.
always competes with these good coaches.
And
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe Hoyer will, do a little bit. We'll have a good run game, but whatever. It'll be a painful loss. As soon as it was close, I was fine. McCourty drops the pick 2 minutes into the game. I started screaming right from there. I flipped it
that was
right
play
there. I was
one.
like, yep, I'm going off. They can't have it. Awful.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the toughest thing is multiple things. If you're going to beat the Chiefs, you need to basically play a perfect game, especially if you don't have
Yep.
Cam Newton as quarterback. So they go into it, and it's like, wait a second, they haven't given up a touchdown yet. They have the ball. It's like 30 seconds. They're going to be tied at halftime. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Then you have the Hoyer mistake, forgetting that they had timeouts. Then getting down there again, and that sack, we saw that coming from miles away. Like,
Oh
get
my
rid of
God.
the ball or go
Hands
down.
down.
Yes.
Like he has no internal clock.
None.
Like,
at
how
all.
do you not know? I'm laughing as he's coming out. I'm like, that's gonna be a fumble. And sure enough, the thing pops out like 2 seconds later. And so he has to
Spit
know.
him lights
Obviously,
out.
he was gonna get benched there. But yeah,
Poor
then
guy
I
looked
mean,
miserable.
dude, even later in the game, Stidham gets him a touchdown. Yes, they had the pass interference that helped him because that probably should have been a pick by Matthew. But you get the touchdown to Harry. You're down at that point. What, 13-10? I think
13-10.
13-10.
Kansas
And
City
J.C.
drives
Jackson-
down. J.C. Jackson
JC
had the pick.
Jackson, it's right there. I'm already yelling pick, and it's like that.
Yes.
What did he? So he basically let the ball come to him instead of go
He
to the ball.
Nelson-
Nelson, he
arms
Nelson
were out here.
Aguilar'd it. He Nelson
Yeah.
Aguilar'd it. He used his chest instead of his hands.
Yeah, he was just trying to like
Tyreek
chest
almost
bump
caught
it.
it.
Yeah, Tyreek would have probably made that a touchdown, but that you need to pick that, and then all of
Yes.
a sudden it's like, granted, Stidham would have been pissing his pants if you had Stidham with the ball down 3 in Kansas City and they actually have fans there. He's gonna be like, how the hell did I end up here? But especially when heading into last weekend, like obviously Stidham wasn't even on the roster, and then he
Yeah.
was going to be playing in a clutch situation in Kansas City. But overall, it's unfortunate. I'm pulling for Stidham because I don't want to see Hoyer out there again.
Yes,
So,
I know.
Yeah.
I find that
here's
crazy though. Like, what happens to college guys? Like, he played in the Iron Bowl against Alabama a couple times. Like, you played in huge crowd, big games. And I swear, all these young guys,
Playing the
as soon as they get
SEC,
to the
those are the
NFL,
biggest crowds in college
exactly.
football.
That's basically almost the equivalent to NFL, louder, more energetic. Like, you
a
come to
bigger
Perrualt,
deal
NFL
for a lot of
games.
NFL
Yes.
teams.
Size.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they like crumble and like I don't get it.
No, one thing that I find hilarious And I don't know if anyone. I mean, I told these guys. I don't know, Steve, if you picked up on this. Stidham's first 6 pass attempts went into the arms of 3 players in the end zone. One was Jamal Adams, one was Tyrann Mathieu, and the other was N'Keal Harry.
Going
He threw
back to
3
last
touchdowns
year.
in his first 6, but 2 of the other team.
Hey, touchdowns. That's what it's about. I can just see some like dumb coach being like, well, if you're throwing touchdowns, you're throwing touchdowns. And that's what it's all about. Like, okay, football guy. But yeah, I mean, the Edelman one was like, Jules.
Dude,
That-
what is
He didn't
Oh,
seem
gosh.
engaged at all last night.
no?
and
He's
that
happily
was
miserable.
pathetic.
Miserable.
It was how Chris Collins or not Chris Collins, Tony Romo described it. You're running. There's a lot of congestion in the middle of the field. You're expecting Stidham to go to the middle of the field. Edelman's just running a little flat route. There's a defender near him. He's not expecting the ball. But of course, Stidham, the rookie quarterback who keeps throwing interceptions, just get to your number one receiver in the closest, the easiest spot possible, and he's not paying attention.
he's got to be ready. If you're turned looking at the damn QB, be ready to catch the ball. I feel like I'm not asking that much from a guy that's been to like 80 Super Bowls, but yeah, that was unfortunate. There should almost be a stat that prevents that from being a pick six. That's not a pick six.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
the first one was a pick six when he started, but that was not a pick six.
There's an asterisk next to
It
that.
shouldn't count as an interception for the quarterback. That's like
That's a pick six on Edelman.
yes.
He almost
He
had
allowed a
other
touchdown.
picks. He almost had 3 interceptions in his first 3 completions.
I know.
because
I know.
the pass interference, he got lucky.
Oh yeah.
That's actually the situation that you want Stidham to get experience in. You're in Kansas City. You're playing easily the best team in football. Yeah, I'm fine with what happened last night. Anything that happened with Stidham, anything that happened with Hoyer was just complete garbage.
I think
Complete
we
and
can all
utter
agree that if Hoyer was the quarterback, Damian Harris would not have broken off that 40-some yard.
No, not a chance. The way Stidham hands the ball off is just so much different.
It was just smooth. It was just boom. Yes.
the
just right
effect
in.
was like so much better.
Hands
So
down.
much
Yeah,
better.
Hoyer is like, eh.
I'm
Stidham-
excited to watch him play against Denver. He better get 30-some carries. Whoever the quarterback is better not attempt more than 20 passes, or else I'm going to be.
I want to
see.
see.
I was yesterday.
I want to see some high school football. Just hand off. Oh,
Yeah.
3rd and 4.
Damian
I think
Harris
we have
better
to.
get 35
They should run the
carries.
Wildcat. Run the Wildcat with
I don't see why not. I would support it.
Give him a second.
all the running backs you got.
He even
that's
takes
yeah.
so
100
funny.
carries.
Yeah. I hate blaming the refs for games, but between the Patrick Mahomes flop on the sideline and
Oh
the
my-
interception and the interception or
fumble, yeah,
fumble or whatever
interception,
you want to
fumble.
call it.
I don't know what that was. That was.
It
I-
technically was intercepted. It never hit the ground.
That was
Yeah,
the
it
worst
never
call
hit
I've
the
ever seen since the
ground,
fail
so.
Mary.
Yeah, that was. I don't know what's going on there. I understand you're trying to protect the $800 million quarterback, but like he wasn't. Mahomes has made a career off of plays from that scenario where he's like getting out of a tackle and running or throwing it like 90 yards. So, and they let him play in those, but this is the one time that we've barely touched him and he's down. He's down. It's like, what is this? That either an interception or a fumble,
Down like
100%.
Neymar.
And then seriously, that flop, dude. That was pathetic.
Bad.
Now, because if anything, Wise is trying to like not toss him, and so the second he felt the hand, he just immediately did this thing. And my dad with the classic line, he's like, "He better watch out. He keeps doing that. He's really gonna get hit." And it's like, yeah, honestly, you probably will. If you get known as like the QB that's flopping to get the 15 yards, someone's gonna plow you and be like, "There's 15 yards.
I
Now
want
you
to
have a
see him.
concussion."
I want to see him do that, like run into his own sideline, and one of his own teammates does that to him, and to try and brace him from falling, and then he pulls off an Oscar award-winning move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the teammate trips him, sticks his leg out, so he falls down. So the refs are like, "Oh my God, he fell down." Patrick Mahomes, 15 interjection. You're out of here. You
He
can't
gets
get
a flag, and we all laughed, or he just looks like an idiot, and we all laugh. Either way, we
Dude,
all laugh.
the second it happened, I'm like, no, because I just
No.
knew.
Well,
You
'cause
knew
they
it was coming.
Damian Harris got trucked out of bounds, actually tackled out of bounds. They picked it up.
I was
like-
surprised that D-Mac. If they're gonna call that one on Dietrich Wise, I'm surprised they didn't.
Oh, the
throw a flag
McCourty
when
one.
Oh,
D-Mac
McCourty, yeah,
ran
McCourty like
was
ran into
like-
him.
That
was a
Patrick
little more
Mahomes,
violent than the
he
other one,
stopped
but still.
right at the sideline, so McCourty had to push him out. He wasn't out of bounds yet, so then McCourty did push him out, and then
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes fell on the ground.
Yeah.
Like he
well,
was
you could
standing
hear
out-
you could
yeah,
hear
yeah.
Devin
He's the
McCourty
Kyle
just
Lowry
like,
of the
come
NFL.
on, man.
Yeah.
Literally,
it's
he
like, what
walks
is
like
this?
Kyle Lowry. That's the best thing. He
Kyle
walks
Lowry.
around kind of like.
Oh yeah, he
Right,
does.
Like a little
Lowry's a
loser.
penguin. Lowry's a fat, chubby penguin. Dude, I'm so happy they beat the Raptors, but like my God, I did not want that guy to advance or Nick Nurse. Like, I mean,
Oh my
Nick
God,
Nurse
Nick
pisses me off.
Nurse.
Yeah.
I
don't
Raptors
think I
are now
hate
my
anyone.
least favorite team in all of sports.
So annoying.
anytime on the sideline, it's like he just saw someone get
on
killed.
the ground,
Yeah.
on his knees,
Please,
squatting.
Please, like doing this thing, like he's biting his nails. Like, what are you doing? You're a grown man. You just won Coach of the Year. Like, act the part.
He also did play really, really good defense in the corner on Tatum on the diversion in that whatever game that was where Tatum threw it out
Game
bounds.
6.
Game 6. That was really
double
good
overtime because
defense.
they should have won that game. That should have won that
Absolutely
series before.
crazy.
Brian
Don't even
is
get us
sports
started on the
reference in his
Celtics.
head.
Yeah, that Celtics are
whatever. Yeah, Nick
Celtics are
Hughes
fine.
is a Lakers fan, so we can trash him.
Oh yeah, Nick is a Lakers fan.
Yes,
He's
sir.
Unfortunate. But,
It is
I mean, you're going to win the championship.
I
I
have
just
my
want to
reasons.
see.
I'm not a bandwagoner. I promise. I promise.
No, if
I'm
you
not
get
a
your reasons, you're
bandwagoner.
good. Classic
I
Penn
went through
State
thick and
Lakers
thin
guy.
the last 7 years.
No, it is true. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? Like the Lakers have been ass for a while now, and then you get the best player or two of
It's
them.
actually good for me that I'm a Lakers fan because since I've been born, they've won 4 or 5 championships. Boston's won like 4 times. The Pats have won several times. Even the
One of
Bruins
those
have won a
classic
couple times,
Lakers Boston sports fans.
yeah.
Yeah, just because your family's from LA. That's it.
Yeah.
Lame.
Sorry. I mean, I was.
No, that
raised,
counts. I think that counts.
My dad's from LA. I was born in Massachusetts. I'm not gonna get raised to be a Celtics fan. He'd never allow that. Never.
No,
Never. Never.
this totally counts. I'm not ripping on it.
Yeah.
That counts. It's basically. I mean, let's be real. I think
He
90%
didn't
of
care
the
enough about
time,
the other sports. So
90% of the time, our
Not what-
fandom's what our dad rooted
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it goes.
We do have video evidence of Nick wearing a Celtic shirt though. so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
false. Nope.
Yes, we
It's been
do.
falsified. It's been tampered.
That was that playoff game. You were wearing
Photoshop is a real thing.
Yeah.
the
that'd be a
T-shirt.
weird
you
thing to
get-
make up.
Celtics Bucks game 1
Yeah,
2018.
Yep. Exact.
Who
it's
could
like
forget? I
April-
remember like it
I
was
plead the
yesterday.
5th.
Yeah. It was like April. Okay, fine, whatever.
Well, that was the last
But-
game that they won with Kyrie until he just gave up. That was fun.
yeah.
Was
it was
Kyrie
the-
playing that
Kyrie, no
game?
Kyrie time.
No,
No,
Kyrie
that
out
That
in
was a game where
March.
Chris Melton hit this ridiculous like globetrotter
half-court
shot from half court
Yeah,
to
that
tie
was
the game.
stupid. That was stupid. But yeah.
Random,
I think-
random thought. So
Yeah.
you're a big Cape League fan.
Oh, absolutely. Love people.
Last
Here
year,
we go.
the championship game at Katuitt against Harwich. I was sitting in the stands. You walked by. I said, "What up? What up?" We bumped knuckles.
That's a great
Aw.
moment. I forgot that even happened. Well, because I had that shirt on.
Yeah, you did. And your red
yeah,
shoes.
Famous for you, Brian.
Dude. The funny thing is, Brian. The funny thing is, we dap up there, right?
Yeah.
Literally
You said-
1 minute later. I kid you not. I saw someone in a what up section 10 of the building shirt. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I thought like this, like somebody set
remember
this shit
this.
up. Like I was ready for Jared to pop out of the bushes, like, gotcha, bitch. But yeah, that was bizarre, but it was unfortunate. Harwich lost. I mean, that was that park though, dude. Katuitt is.
Oh my
awesome.
God. That one of the
Best in the
first
Cape.
Cape League games I ever went to was in
I went
Katuitt.
to
So I
one
mean,
Cape League game.
I'm a fan of every team. It's like hard to be like a fan of a Cape League team. You just kind of like
Hmm.
the first team you go to, you're like, okay, I have a Katuitt hat. Was the first Cape League hat I had, so I guess I'm a Katuitt fan.
Best team
Because
Best
we
hat in
always
the
go
game
to
before.
we always go to that area, Falmouth, Katuitt, Hyannis Port area. So I'm like, okay, I guess Katuitt fan, whatever. And yeah, that Lowell Park, that game, that was insane. The amount of people
nuts.
there, crazy.
Hey, I did over the summer I was trying to just kind of check out the parks. I've seen all of them, but it was cool to just like walk on the field on all of
Yeah.
them. And Katuitt does something that they should all do. In the dugout, they have a full list, and it's like it's polished. Granted, Katuitt's a kind of an expensive town, so I get it. Like they have the people that are backing their team got some coin in their pocket. So the dugout has a list of all the players in Major League Baseball that played for the Katuitt Cavaliers, and it's like it looks polished. It looks really cool. I don't understand, and I understand why. It's money, but like every team should have that because like
Yeah.
that's one thing that there's not enough of a connection, and I'm going to do everything in my existence to try to like make it a bigger deal. And I was doing a podcast with some guys with the Whitey Red Sox, and like there should be way more of a connection between Major League Baseball and the Cape Cod League, and really just on social media. Like there should
Yeah.
it should be more of a connection instead of it's like if you're the Cape League, you have a bunch of interns and they run all your social, they run all of your concessions, they do everything, and then in the off season they're like what you guys are doing. They're in college, and it's I don't know. There needs to be more like going on with the Cape League because it's the coolest thing. It still feels like a hidden gem. It's been
Yeah.
around since like Vietnam.
Yeah.
I've been to
Um,
one Cape League. It was Falmouth Hyannis. I think the score was like 13-2. Like I can't remember. I don't remember.
What's up?
Random thought,
much.
Nick.
No, I guess.
Yeah, random thought from Nick. He does that a lot. He just speaks just randomly, and we don't know what he's saying. Don't understand it at all. Thank you,
No,
Nick,
man.
for that.
I saw a game once.
Yeah, he just does that.
I
He
gotta
just does
reminisce.
I've seen baseball.
Good job, Nick. You've seen
Get
a
out.
baseball game.
Let's go Rays.
Oh, Rays?
Boom.
Rays?
Home run.
Was
The
it
Yankees
G-Ban
pitcher's
again?
hat. The Devi Garcia doesn't his not wearing
Randy
the hat is not on his
Arozarena.
head. It's on his hair.
Oh, Randy Arozarena.
hair wears
he
his
went
hat.
yard.
Yeah,
I don't
Apple
want Pedro's name spoken upon this man. There
Okay.
is too much.
This
Like, oh, he
pisses off-
wants
this
to be
guy's a
Pedro.
punk.
This guy
Just because he has the hair and he's a right-hander. They call him
This guy's
Pedro. The next
garbage.
it's the funniest thing. Then every single time any pitcher from the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico comes in the AL East, automatic the next Pedro. It's ridiculous. This guy
Sanchez.
next. Like I can't wait for the next guy.
Hey, by the way, coolest name in baseball is Sixto Sanchez. That's
Sixto
a
Sanchez
badass
is
name.
pretty good.
Yes.
I was like, that's his name. That's like a rich
Blaze
Sixto.
Jordan's close though. That's pretty good too.
But if you walk up to a girl, you're like, yo, I'm Sixto Sanchez. Like, oh, game over. That is
That is
so
so
impressive.
true.
He's got gas too. Anyway,
Hmm.
I don't know how
Yeah.
we got off on Sixto Sanchez.
I don't know either.
my goodness.
But I think we're wrapped up. We'll let you get to the Yankees-Rays game. We have one last question. Have you ever played Mario Kart before?
Oh, a lot. Too much, probably.
Are you a nunchuck or a wheel type of person?
Wheel.
Yes,
Yes,
sir!
Come on.
yes, sir. Let's
3 to
go.
1,
Come
4 to
on.
1, 4 to 1.
4-1.
I had
Andrew.
to, I
I'm
had
the
to
only
think
one.
about it. I had to
Andrew's
think
the
about
only
it.
Nunchuck kid.
nunchuck guy.
He's a weirdo.
That's
Well, I mean,
unfortunate.
when I win every time, I mean, it seems like it should be.
I compare
Yeah.
it, using the nunchuck is like going to like a Japanese restaurant and using a fork instead of the chopsticks that they give you. It's that's how I like to think about it.
It's
Okay.
I'm just glad that Mario Kart like is a forever thing. I remember growing up, we were playing on an N64, and I was like, I want to play this game forever. Like this game's awesome. And now it's just been a million versions of it, and it's still awesome. Like it's
Yeah.
still, and then it becomes a drinking game. It's awesome. Everything about Mario Kart's incredible.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that was just our little random question. But thank you for joining us. We had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Go Red Sox. Thank you for our listeners to listening to this. Steve Perrault, Section 10. Go check them out on Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.